Hello, oh, what's that? Good evening. It is now 6:30. I would like to call the regular Cultural Heritage Commission meeting of March 20th, 25 to order. Before I proceed, I would like to take a moment to go over our meeting protocols for today. The South Pasadena Cultural Heritage Commission meeting for March 20th, 2025 will be concluded in person. To maximize public safety while maintaining transparency and public access, members of the public can observe the meeting via Zoom. Will staff please take roll call?
Commissioner Cross,
Present.
Commissioner Aperlo,
Here.
Commissioner Dean, excused absence, Vice Chair Severson,
Here.
Chair Lopez, excused absent. You have quorum.
Thank you. So moving on to the approval of the agenda. Next, we move on to the approval of the agenda. Commissioners, do you have any requests or additions, revisions to the agenda? If so, please raise your hands. Seeing no requests, I would like a vote of the commission to proceed with approval of the agenda as submitted. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Okay. Moving on to disclosure of site visits and contacts. Next is the disclosure by commissioners of site visits and ex parte contact for items on today's agenda. Commissioner Cross? We don't have any items, so that's kind of a tricky one. It's really just reviewing the priorities moving forward for the year. So is there anything to report?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Aperlo? Okay. And nothing to report on my end either. Moving right along here. Agenda item number 1, public comment and non-agenda items. Next is the public comment for general items that are not on the agenda. Has staff received any public comment in person or via Zoom?
We have not received public comments in chambers. Guests on Zoom, please click the hand icon to make a public comment on items or matters not on the agenda. And we do not have a public comments via Zoom.
Thank you. Items listed under the consent calendar are considered by the Cultural Heritage Commission to be routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion unless a public comment has been received or a commissioner requests otherwise, in which case the item will be removed for separate consideration. Item number 2, minutes from the regular meeting of the February 20th, 24. There is a correction to the agenda. Item number 2, minutes from the regular meeting of February 20th, 24. The minutes were not included in the agenda packet for this meeting. Okay. Yeah, it says 2024 on here, but I'm assuming it was last month's, the 25th. Moving on to the discussion.
Good evening, Commissioners. So for item number 3, this will just be reviewing the Certified Local Government's annual report. So the recommendation is to review the Certified Local Government Program annual report and to just give a brief background and discussion on it. The State of California Office of Historic Preservation, OHP, promotes the CLG program, and it's intended to help local governments identify, preserve, and evaluate historic properties within their local jurisdictions. So as part of this certification process, an annual report is required from all the participating jurisdictions. And the city certification within this program allows access or eligibility to federal grants in regards to helping any of our historic preservation programs. So as part of this report, the Cultural Heritage Commission is asked to review it. And if they have any comments or discussion, we can elaborate on that. And then secondly, as part of the report that you see in the packets, under section 2D, there is a requirement that all commissioners and the staff, the liaison, complete one training per year that is relevant to the commission. So just to send a reminder that this annual report is due on March 28th, 2025. So that is next week. So if we could have the training, if it's been completed by the commissioners, we can have that sent over to staff so we can update the report. Thank you.
Is there anything that either of you would like to bring up on this one, or do we have any comments regarding the report? Nothing?
The train you mentioned, was that different than what I went through when I was brought in as a commissioner? Is there something in addition to that? Because wasn't aware.
Yes, Commissioner Perillo. It will be different. It has to be, so when it's the relevancy to the commission, because this is a cultural heritage commission, I believe the training would have to do something with historic preservation. On the OHP website, the Office of Historic Preservation, they do have training videos from past meetings that are available. So after the meeting, I can send over that link again. If anyone hasn't completed any of the meetings, and there's some trainings there that you could review, and that would count towards the training required. But yes, it is different than the training that was required beforehand, to my understanding.
So we've got until next week to take care of that.
That is correct, Commissioner Stevenson.
Any comments, or is there anything that you guys would like to bring up? No? Okay. Then if we move on to item number 4 under the discussion, discussing the priorities for the annual Cultural Heritage Commission work plan. Would we like to discuss the items that we worked on last year? I know we were talking about this briefly before the meeting began, but is there anything that we would like to talk about in that regard, and then what we're planning on this year moving forward? Is this a good time for that? Is that what you were thinking, Allison? Okay. So from what I recall last year, we were reviewing, I think there were 5 Mills Act properties that we reviewed, and I don't remember the number that actually qualified. Maybe it was 2. Does that sound correct? The one up just south of Columbia, and then the one on Indiana, potentially. Yeah, so I think Indiana passed within the past month or 2, I believe. So, and we've already got for this year going forward with the Mills Act. I know we've already discussed. I think there's 1 or 2 that we've already been talking about reviewing coming up in the near future, and then I think Commissioner Ding has been working on one for the past few years that maybe that's in line to kind of come back to the forefront here. So those were the major ticket items aside from the standard reviews. I can't I know last year we talked about the number of projects that were reviewed. Now that I'm kind of going through this in my head as I'm talking it through out loud. It would be cool to know how many projects we reviewed last year. So maybe we can continue this next month when we have a full row of commissioners here. Because it would be great to know how many projects we reviewed, and then just get an idea of that moving forward, if things are cooling off or heating up, or how that's looking. So um, that, and then I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Is there anything that anyone else can think of regarding milestones for last year or what we're thinking about this year moving forward?
The year before, year before, we visited a potential landmark. Tax. North of the freeway on Arroyo. A modern house, and I don't know what's happened. So
The first stage of the Mills Act, getting a landmark status so that they
I
could.
believe so. It's been a while, so I think that should be revisited. The owner was very cooperative. Look forward to it.
So maybe we can bring that up when we speak with everyone.
Right.
See if there's anything that comes up from previous meeting notes or something like that. Do you remember how long ago this was?
Last year.
Maybe a year and a half.
Yeah, this is Allison Becker. I believe it was last year. And the landmark status was approved.
Oh, it was.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just racking my brain to come up with the name of the house. But it is the property, the modern property on Arroyo.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh, is it the white box?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Beautiful house.
Sure.
Great. Is there anything that we should speak about going for things to come this year? Anything that we should be aware of, or should we table this until we've got a full commission here for next month?
If I may just share one idea that has come up a couple of times from the public, when I'm talking to people that they've been asking about, is the development of a district sign program so that our designated historic districts have signage, right? So that might include actually like the design of the sign, like what is the city's, because I don't think we have district signage yet. But I had one resident send me lots of examples of signs from other places. And that seems like that might be a good activity for some oversight from the commission. If that might advance, kind of the work and the goals of the commission. I also know that the mayor pro tem had some ideas that she was hoping to share, and she's out of town this week. So, perhaps deferring till next month is wise for that as well.
That sounds great. That's a really good point. I wonder if there's some rationale behind why we don't have naming of the districts, because there's so many great districts in this town. I would think there would be something there, but that would be great. We could call those out.
In terms of discussion, we have many of what would be landmarks in high fire areas, and I don't know if the fire department's looking at how to deal with that, what happened up in Pasadena, and but it sure was devastating. If you've driven, or if you haven't driven through, take Altadena Drive from one end to the other, it's just awful. But we should be thinking about what would happen if this happened in South Pasadena. I know up in like Altos to Monterey. There's a lot of green areas that could begin a major fire. So I just think, is there a plan? This fire department has a plan for that.
I can say for sure, on the city council priorities for 2025, looking at, preparedness is definitely, a high priority for the council. I also can report that from the planning commission perspective, with their work plan, they have identified, hillside development regulations as a priority, looking at maybe establishing a specific plan or other tools to kind of revisit how we're approaching development in the hillsides. So those two things have certainly kind of been pushed forward, especially with the recent experience in Altadena.
It's great to know. Are you, are you asking if there's things in addition to code requirements, like
Well,
the clearing on a hillside or something like that?
clearing hillsides, or if somebody is re-roofing to go with a fire
Oh.
rooftop, or, you know, good resistant fire roof. And,
Stricter code enforcement or materials or something like that.
right,
if you're in-
yeah.
I see.
And that would go for all houses. And it doesn't have to be a landmark. That's fine.
No. All right. Well, shall we table this until next month?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sounds good.
great. So that concludes the discussion section. If we move on to the administration section, we now move on to comments from our council liaison. Do you have any comments for the commission?
She is absent this evening.
So that would be a no. Okay. We now move on to comments from commissioners. Are there any comments from commissioners?
No comments from me,
No
except
comment.
it's been a pleasure serving the community for the last 6 years. So this is my last meeting I'll be attending,
Oh, no kidding.
unless I am in the audience.
Wow, congratulations. I had no idea.
Well, just became that time. And I just decided it should be before summer and spend some time with my daughter and so forth.
Sounds very, very much warranted. Thank you for the past 6 years.
Mhm.
That's quite a chunk of time. I wonder how many projects you've reviewed.
Can't even remember.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Mhm.
This is a big night. I didn't think it was going to be a big night, but congratulations.
Oh,
So that's a big comment. Anything else? No? Okay. We can now move on to the comments from our subcommittees. Any comments from subcommittees? The subcommittees that I'm aware of are, we spoke of them last week, upcoming Mills Act designations. And I think that might be it for the time being. I don't think we've got anything else going on. So maybe more to come. And then item 7, comments from the staff.
Well, I'd just like to again thank Mr. Cross, extend our, considerable gratitude for your many years of service to the city. I just learned that in addition to his years on this commission, he also served 6 years on the Planning Commission. And so these are the the keepers of the character of town. And you've had your hands fingers on a lot of projects over all those years. And so I hope that brings you a large degree of satisfaction and that you enjoy your time in your garden this summer.
That's quite a run, 12 years. You didn't want to go for a baker's dozen?
Well, it was
Get one more in
broken
there?
up by, probably 20 years,
Oh, wow.
because I didn't want to be a commissioner when with the county of LA planning.
Sure.
And stop that when I retired.
Well, congratulations once again. And thank you very much for setting a good tone for us new ones.
It's a good name.
Any other comments from staff? Not, then can move on to number 9, adjournment. Adjourning the regular Cultural Heritage Commission scheduled until next month, Thursday, April 17th at 6:30 p.m. Thank you. Do I